I used to live in a small town nestled in the Rocky Mountains of western Montana. It didn't have much in it, maybe 600 residents, 2 bars, a gas station, post office, school, market, a couple of churches, and a hotel. Sometimes people would stay the night at the inn, but other than that, it was rare to get anyone new in town. It so happened that one summer, a new family moved in. Many of the residents gathered around and introduced themselves to the family when they first arrived. As for me, I was down by the school playing basketball by myself. The school was across the street from the hotel and had an unobstructed view of its back. It was there, while shooting hoops by myself, that I saw a young child and an elderly man talking. Nothing suspicious occurred from what I saw. They talked for a bit, and then both went their own ways. I thought nothing more about it until later that day, when the family and I were about to sit down for dinner. A knock on our door interrupted our meal prayer. My dad went to go see who it was, and when he opened the door, I could hear a woman speaking hysterically. It was the woman from the new family that had just moved in. Her son was supposed to be back home earlier that afternoon and had not checked in yet. With it being a new place, she was afraid he had gotten lost. I knew that getting lost in that town was nearly impossible, as I had tried it myself several times. Only having 4 roads made it easy to find your way around. Others thought that he might have gone to roam in the woods. The more pessimistic may have had ideas that he had been mauled by a mountain lion. I went to the door to see if there was anything I could do to help. I knew most of the areas of interest and where a kid might explore if he had gone to the woods. As I approached, I caught a glimpse of the picture of her son she was showing everyone. He looked to be about 8 or 9 years old, and from what I could tell, appeared to be about the same size as the child I had seen behind the hotel. I mentioned that I had seen him talking to an old man. She asked where, and I told her my story. From what I could gather, I must have been the last person to see this kid. We rushed over to where I had seen him and looked around the area. Nothing seemed unusual until we went to the interior. It was my dad who noticed the specks of blood in front of the maintenance door. At first, we thought it was paint until he bent over and touched it. It was still wet. When he put it to his nose, it had the unmistakable scent of blood. The boy's mother quickly called the police, and they came as soon as they could. They didn't find any trace of the innkeeper, old man, or the boy. With the innkeeper having been a woman, they suspected that maybe the old man had taken her and the child. They checked the guest registry and got the name of the last person who had stayed there, which was also the only person to have stayed there in a while. They sent patrol cars out in all directions, while a few of them stayed back to investigate. What they found set the whole town into a panic. In the personal room of the innkeeper, they discovered a hidden area. Skins were hung on the walls, fingers were strung onto a necklace, and certain male parts were kept in jars. One of the police officers remarked it was the most gruesome sights he had ever seen involving a female perpetrator. An abandoned car was found some miles down the road, and it contained the body of Dave Milowitz. He was the last one to stay at the hotel, an old man who was on his way to see his grandchildren. He had defensive wounds from a knife on his arms and had been stabbed several times. What had been going on there must have been happening for years, but was never discovered, as the innkeeper would only attack visitors and not residents. Most likely what happened, according to police, is that the child witnessed the attack on Dave, so the killer grabbed the kid and fled, taking the body of Dave with her. Neither the innkeeper or the woman's son have yet been found. The town slowly started to die, as no one wanted to live there anymore after such a gruesome thing had happened. We moved out about a year later, and now live far from any hotels at all. Thank you for watching. We'll always have room for you here when you visit. To keep up on great content like this, like, subscribe, and please share. Have a nice day.